Hey everybody, welcome back to TechOdyssey. So I want to talk about today the biggest surprises that I've had since I got the new MacBook Pro 2021. This is the M1 Pro model, the 14-inch. I downgraded in size from the 16-inch that I had in my 2019 model. Ever since I got this though, I was on the fence when I first took it out of the box. But now I really kind of like this thing, and even though it was expensive, there are some really surprising things here that I want to share with you because I think that you'll find them enjoyable. It'll be a nice educational moment if you've been interested in picking one up, and why I think that it's actually worth the price tag. But before we get into that, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, thank you for being here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. Now let's talk about the big surprises that I found that I like with the MacBook Pro 2021. So the first thing that I found surprising that really was a big upgrade is the screen. It's got the new Liquid Retina XDR on it. It's got the ProMotion display, 120 Hertz. So you get that nice smooth scrolling effect. I didn't find that it was the most pronounced or the best on the new iPhone 13 Pro. It's there, you can tell a difference, but I felt like the refresh rate was kind of more substantial on like the Samsung phones. It definitely feels more noticeable. On here, it is so nice. As you're doing things, as you're moving menus around, as you're pulling up windows, as you're editing, there's just so many different things. It really makes for a smooth scrolling experience, a smooth viewing experience. And the other nice thing is the contrast, the saturation, and the brightness compared to my 2019 is substantial. Like, I was perfectly happy with my 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro, and I'm like, okay, I don't really see how I'm going to be that much impressed with this newer one, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a go. And then I pulled it up, and like the very first time I turned it on, once I got into macOS, holy cow. We were talking higher nits, higher peak brightness. It's got like 1,000 nits of brightness as opposed to the 500 on the 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. Also, the screen itself, the 2019, it looks more washed out. You don't get the sharpness, you don't get the detail, the color depth. This is a mini LED screen, just like you get with the iPad Pro 2021. And yes, it still has the blooming issues. Whenever you have a black screen, when you have white stuff on there, white text, white light, anything, you're going to have the blooming area around it. Kind of annoying. Also, you have the notch up top. So kind of tied in with this, I was really surprised by the screen. There are a lot of people who are really upset about the notch. And I made a video about it when the rumors hadn't been confirmed yet that we were looking at a notch, and I was hoping it was going to have Face ID. It doesn't. It's just a 1080p webcam that has a notch. But you do have this basically very, very substantial reduction in the bezel around the top. I do like that, and I find that I don't notice it. Now, I don't like that it's there. It irks me that we don't have Face ID. If they had Face ID, the IR blaster, so they could do the facial recognition stuff, yeah, I would be largely okay with it because I feel like we're getting some real value out of it. But to arbitrarily throw that in there, people are like, oh, well, the bezels are reduced. You know what else you could do? You could completely reduce the bezels and just have a little peephole cut out like the rest of the world. So I don't know. I don't notice it when I'm using the laptop. It just physically irks me that it's there. The surprise is that it doesn't really bother me while I'm using it. So I think that unless you really change the wallpaper up to something bright and you see that big black notch up there, it probably won't bother you as much either. But the screen is gorgeous. The ProMotion display is a huge update over the 2019 MacBook Pro, and I absolutely love it. So the screen is the first big surprise. The second surprise is the keyboard. So they redesigned the keyboard, different key press, different design. I really didn't like it for like the first day that I typed on it. I really preferred the 2019 model. And then as I used it for about a day or two, I really got to where I like it. I like the tactility. I like the feel. I like the key press. It's something that kind of grows on you. If you like the 2019 model, you probably may have the same feelings. It's not something where it was an instant, yeah, okay, I like this. I wasn't crazy about it. You get used to typing on the same keyboard. It's one of those things where we don't like change that much, but having typed on it and used it for like a week now, I actually really like the keyboard. So that was another surprise. I like the screen, I like the keyboard, and also the speakers. The speakers are louder, they're boomier. It's got a really nice sound experience, and I thought that I would be losing some coming from a 16-inch down to a 14-inch. Not at all. This thing sounds fantastic, and that's something that also surprised me. I like the speakers already on the 2019 MacBook Pro. These are better, and I didn't think they were really going to get improved all that much. So the speakers are better. Also, the other thing that I found that I really, really like on here is the battery life. I didn't think there was going to be that big of a difference. Before, with my 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro, I would edit my videos unplugged while I was in my bed, and I could probably edit 2 8 to 10 minute videos, and it was like dead. I could edit, start the export. By the time I would start to export the second video, we're talking maybe an hour and a half of work here. The battery would be very, very depleted. I would have to go plug it in. I edited a video on here, like a substantial 15-minute video, and I didn't lose more than 20% battery. And this was absolutely crazy. This M1 Pro chip, the battery, the level of power that it uses, the battery optimization with the software, just the efficiency that you get in the same level of power. The fans didn't even kick on. It hardly used any battery at all. And I was like, wow, I could probably edit 5 videos on this when I can only edit like 2 with my previous 2019-inch MacBook Pro. So the battery life enhancements, the power and battery ratio in here is just sickeningly good. So that was the other big surprise. I knew it was going to be more powerful. I didn't think I was going to get that big of a battery savings and still be able to do my same level of work and almost double or triple what I was doing. So that's really impressive. One thing that I haven't been overly impressed with, one thing that did surprise me, I thought I was going to get a substantially better experience when I was exporting with Final Cut Pro. I made a video about this. I'm getting about 1 minute saved per 8 minutes of exporting. So if I go and I make an 8-minute 4K video on here, for every 8 minutes, this one does it about 1 minute faster than my i7 entry model 2019 MacBook Pro. That's with Final Cut Pro, though. I fully expect that with Adobe Premiere, that with DaVinci, if you can get that on here. There are other different kinds of software that you can use on here to export stuff. From what I've heard, it's like way, way, way better. So if you use Final Cut Pro, it's so optimized already for the M1 chip, the M1 Pro, and also for work with Mac OS that it works so well. And that was one thing that people really liked about it before. It did so much more with less. So if you've got a different editing software on here, you're probably going to see more substantial gains. But if you've got Final Cut Pro, you're not going to see a lot of extra benefit in exporting your videos, at least not with normal 4K video. I haven't tested it with ProRes yet. I just got the update from my iPhone the other day. So I'm going to test out ProRes on here, see how that works. But yeah, I thought it was going to be a little bit faster with Final Cut Pro, and I would see some more gains there. I'm saving about 1 minute of export time per 8. So that was a surprise there as well. And then one thing that really surprised me, I didn't realize how well you could actually open this. So you can, this lid is so light, you can open it and close it with one hand like it's absolutely nothing. The build quality on here is stellar, and it has a little bit of a retro design to it. It's kind of more rounded. It reminds me a lot of the 2013 MacBook Pro 2012. I like the design, and I think that it's a nice upgrade. So that was also a surprise. And then the last thing that really surprised me, I didn't want to spend a fortune and get the 16-inch, but I also do a lot of editing, like when I'm laying around, when I'm laying in bed. It's really convenient. I wanted to have a smaller footprint because the 2016 is just, the 16-inch 2019 model is just so big. So I decided to go with the 14 over the 16. It feels like a much larger display. Because they have the reduction in bezels and this 14-inch over the 13-inch, my wife has the 13-inch MacBook Air, and it feels much, much smaller and much more compressed compared to this. Even though it's only 1 extra inch, the bezels make a huge difference. And when you're using it, it feels really nice. It's like a nice immersive environment as you're using the laptop. So it allows you to get sucked in and you can enjoy using it. And it's way, way smaller footprint than the 16-inch. So I like the 16-inch. It's really big. You may want something like that if you're using it more of like a desktop platform. But the way that I use mine, very light, very mobile, sometimes even laying in my bed when I edit my videos. So the 14-inch, I'm glad that I downsized from it because it gives me more flexibility. It's not as heavy. And oh my gosh, the biggest thing that I love about this probably is that it doesn't have the fans in it that kick in as soon as it gets under load and it gets super hot and then it sounds like you have jet engines coming out of your laptop. I would use it, and then when I took it in my room, my wife was like, "Oh my gosh, what is that noise? Is like something wrong with the TV?" No, the fans on the 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro, oh my gosh, they get loud and it's basically scorching your legs. It is like baking whatever it sits on. So this one, hardly tell a temperature difference at all. It exports slightly faster with Final Cut Pro. The screen is beautiful. The speakers are nice. I like the keyboard. And the 14-inch screen just feels immersive. Plus, you've got the 1080p webcam. I don't use a webcam very often, but you do have that. It's increased. And you also don't notice the notch that much, especially if you use the stock wallpaper that's on here. So those are really the big surprises for me that I kind of found out I enjoyed when using it. I was very hesitant because I just bought my MacBook Pro 2019 16-inch model like a year and a half ago. And I paid like $2,100 for it. It's a very, very expensive laptop. I'm getting $1,300 trade-in. This one I ended up getting the 10-core CPU, 16-core GPU model with the 1 terabyte hard drive. I got a discount on it. I got it for like $22.99. So with the trade-in and everything, I'm paying like $1,100. That right there, after using it at face value when I first got it, I'm like, no, I'm going to just keep my 2019 because there's not that much of an improvement. And then after using the screen, ProMotion display, having that less of a bezel appearance, liking the keyboard. I do miss having the touch bar, but the buttons are actually surprisingly better than I thought. I didn't have one before that didn't have the touch bar, so whenever I got it, I was like, okay, this is a downgrade. But the buttons are very easily set up and identifiable that you can do for the brightness, for the volume, basically everything I use them for already. So I missed that less than I thought, and that's probably another big surprise. I thought I was really going to be crushed by that, but it's not bothering me as much as I expected it to. So there are a lot of small things here that all build up to where I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to trade in my 2019 model. And I think this is going to be good for the long run. I can work longer. I can work harder. I can get a slightly better increased performance. The screen just makes it so nice to use. And I think they did a really good job. And this M1 Pro is no slouch. So that's all I've got in this video. That's what I wanted to talk about. The things that really surprised me about this, how much I like it, and how easily it won me over because I was very critical about it. These are not year-over-year upgrade laptops that you want to buy, and this one I think adds a considerable amount of value. If you've got a 2019, it's not essential to upgrade to it, but if you got one older than that, then you're going to get a whole lot of different things. And it's nice. I actually like the MagSafe power cord. I was like, okay, why can't they just keep the other one? It's very easy to plug in. It's nice that you get the safety net there in case you've got your cord strung out and somebody trips over it. It'll just break off. Yeah, it breaks the connection. It doesn't physically break off. So that way your laptop doesn't go flying off of a desk or something. So they did a lot of good things here. I got to give Apple kudos. I'm not an Apple guy. I only use a MacBook or a Mac Mini out of necessity for editing my videos. And they've made it a really enjoyable experience. So that's probably the biggest thumbs up that I can give it. So that's all I've got in this video. I know this is a little unorthodox. I don't really make these type of videos. But for people on the fence, people who watch my channel, my subscribers, I wanted to put this together so you could get some of my insight on why I like it, why I think it's worth it, and why I decided to go ahead and stick with this one and trade in my last ones. Because there's been some nice surprises here, some good, some bad, some really, really surprising, and it's a pretty top-notch laptop. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those down in the comments section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.